If you're planning your Camino de Santiago, you don't want to make these 3 common mistakes. I've walked the Camino multiple times, and I've seen many pilgrims struggle because of these. But here's the good news. You don't have to. In this video, I'll share what I've learned from my 3 Caminos so that your journey can be more peaceful, joyful, and meaningful. Let's dive in. Mistake number 1, over-planning. I'll admit it, I'm someone who suffers from this a little bit myself, especially in my first Camino, which was the Camino Francés in 2011. I love to gather information. I was reading all the books. I was in all the forums. And so I had a plan. I wanted to be prepared for every possibility. But as much as I wanted to know what to expect, I didn't need or could possibly have every detail planned out. And I learned that very quickly. From the start, my plan went completely off track. I was flying standby out of Chicago because my brother is a pilot. And the flight that I was trying to get on to Paris, I did not get a seat. And so from the very beginning, I was already a day behind. My reservation at Orison was no good. The flight I caught the next day was actually late getting in, and I didn't get a ticket on the train that I needed to from Paris down to Bayonne. So I ended up spending the 4th of July in a train station in Paris reading The Hunger Games instead of starting my walk peacefully as planned in Saint-Jean. None of that was part of my original plan. But it did mean that the lessons that I needed to learn from the Camino started from not even day 1, but day 0. A complete reminder from God that as much as I had tried to control and plan and anticipate what would happen, that wasn't how this was going to go. If I had been completely attached to that plan, this would have been a disaster. Luckily, I was able to redirect and be flexible and just learn that this is how the Camino is going to unfold. Overplanning can lead to stress, especially when things inevitably don't go as you imagined. Trying to hold on to that plan is really the antithesis of the Camino. So I encourage you to think about, have some ideas about what you want the Camino to look like, where you're going to start. We know where you're going to end up, maybe how many days you have, but even that is kind of overplanning. So there's logistical things, yes, to think about. But if you have a plan that you want to tightly hold on to, know that probably the first lesson you're going to learn on the Camino is that that is not how this plays out. The beauty of this is if you did focus on sticking to your itinerary, you would probably push through injuries. You wouldn't take a chance to actually have conversations with people. And so knowing going in that you need to kind of relax enables you to have the sorts of experiences that the Camino is really all about. So general advice, have an outline. Make a little bit of a plan, but don't hold too tightly to it, or else you're going to be really disappointed when reality happens, and trust me, it will happen. Mistake number 2, no training. Many people will say the Camino is just a walk, and they're not wrong. It is just a walk. There's no need for special hiking equipment or oxygen or crazy tools. But particularly for those of us who are coming from a pretty car-dependent place in the US, walking 10 to 15 miles every day is really not something that we are used to or that our bodies are used to. If you try to go from 0 to 30 days of walking 10 miles a day, your body is not going to thank you. Shin splints, blisters, sore knees, all of those things I experienced even with the training I did. So training does not get rid of everything, but I can only imagine how much worse my Camino would have been if I had not done at least some training ahead of time. Even with all the training, I still ended up needing to take rest days. I went to a clinic outside of Lyon because I was limping with both legs, didn't even know that was possible. So do yourself a favor and try to take some steps to prepare yourself. For me, the most useful way to train was actually to work on walking by time and not by distance. I had no idea when I started walking what my pace was. And so having these arbitrary, like, oh, I need to walk 5K today. I'm like, I don't really know what 5K is in my neighborhood. But I found a plan online 15 years ago that kind of spaced out and said, all right, start by trying hour-long walks on the weekends, and then 2-hour walks, and then 4-hour walks, and then 6-hour walks. And so by the end of my training, a couple weeks or a week before the Camino, I actually did 2 back-to-back 8-hour-long walks on a Saturday and a Sunday. And while I was very tired from that, I also had the confidence then that I could walk for a long time. So I knew that my body understood what it felt like to walk for a long time, not necessarily a long distance, but for a long time. And so that to me gave me some level of composure and confidence that my body was ready to do this. One thing I will say is I am from Chicago, and I did all of my training in Chicago and the area, and I don't know if you know this, but Chicago is very flat. So I did not do any incline training, and that was kind of a mistake. So I would encourage you to try to incorporate some hills if they're around you, maybe a Stairmaster or two, put your treadmill on an incline, try to get that, because I loved the first day climbing over the Pyrenees. My body did not. Again, doing that gave me a huge boost of confidence. Okay, I can climb over the Pyrenees. That's great. Everything else is almost literally downhill from here. But I think I would have enjoyed it even more if I hadn't been trying to breathe quite as hard as I was without having done incline training. So do something to prepare your body. Also, though, know that especially if you're walking something like the Camino Francés, where you've got 480 miles to go, your body will be adjusting during that first week. Like that first week is still part of your training, really, right? Like you are now in the rhythm of what it means to walk. All of that to say, don't not train. So do train. Get yourself to a place where you feel confident in the amount of walking that you can do, and know what it feels like. I also ended up using my backpack. Once I got my backpack, I wore it on all of my training walks, whether it was empty or just had my lunch, or as I was getting supplies for the Camino, I would add them to the backpack and then just carry them with me, so that I was really used to walking with my specific backpack, so I knew what it felt like on my body, but also what the weight felt like, because that you don't want that shock on day one of the Camino either. This brings us to mistake number 3, which is carrying too much, both physically and emotionally. Packing too much is one of the most common problems amongst pilgrims. There's tons of packing lists out there. I'm probably even going to offer you a packing list, but we tend to think that we need to pack everything that we could possibly need on the Camino into our backpack. And let me tell you that that is not true. Every ounce that you carry, you will feel by the end of the day. And Spain is not a place that doesn't sell things that you might run out of or need. So you don't need to take all of your shampoo at once. People always ask, how much should I pack? Common rule of thumb is you shouldn't carry more than 10% of your body weight. When you are as heavy as I am, that is still a lot of weight. I mean, I could have carried a whole lot in my backpack according to that measurement, but no, I did not want to carry that much over the Pyrenees. So again, I was wearing my pack on my training journeys. I was kind of used to what it felt like. You need a lot less than you think. Anticipate being creative in using different things, or like using one thing for multiple ways. Really focus on just bringing the essentials. But I want to say it's not always just about the physical load. You also don't want to be carrying too much emotionally. This isn't always something that you're aware of. I would say that the Camino has the habit of bringing up emotions that you don't even know that you are carrying. But one thing I think that you can manage not to carry too much is expectations. I think a lot of us start by walking the Camino because we're trying to figure out our lives, figure out something in our lives. We often are at a time of transition or just uncertainty and want some clarity. And that's a lot to put on the Camino. And while I 100% think that everyone who does a Camino learns something about themselves and the world, you don't always get the clear answer that you might have hoped for, right? So some people have a huge life-changing experience and everything is different after the Camino. Other people really take time to process and figure out like what are the lessons that they can learn from that within their own lives. Other people, okay, that didn't give me the answer that I wanted. And that doesn't mean your Camino was a failure, but it also means that you might not want to have that expectation going in because you don't want to be disappointed. Because that disappointment can cloud and obscure what you did actually experience and did learn from walking the Camino. So go in carefully with your expectations. Ultimately, the Camino has a way of stripping us down to our essentials. So not only should we be only carrying the essentials, it will really kind of reveal, who are you? We don't totally shed ourselves in walking the Camino, but it does open us up to maybe a clearer picture of who we are and gives us the chance to consider the baggage that we might be carrying. So to recap, the 3 big mistakes to avoid on the Camino are: 1, over-planning. Have a plan, but be flexible. The best moments often come from detours and reminders that we are not always in control. Number 2, not training. Make sure that your body has some idea of what's about to happen to it so that you can actually experience more joy on the Camino and a little bit less suffering. And number 3, carrying too much. Make sure that you are not overpacking your backpack, not overpacking your expectations, but kind of boiling it down to the essentials again so that you can really enjoy the experience. I'm a huge proponent of the fact that the Camino actually has an important destination, Santiago, but I also acknowledge that the journey is a huge part of what is about to happen to you. And so the more that you can embrace sort of the unpredictability, the daily rhythms, the lessons of the Camino, the more you will really get out of it. I hope this helps you as you prepare for your Camino. If you have any questions or if you'd like to hear more stories from my Camino, let me know in the comments. And one more thing, if you're watching this in February of 2025 and you're planning a Camino in 2025, I invite you to check out the link below about my upcoming beta test group for my pre and post Camino coaching program. I am a certified Catholic mindset coach and obviously a huge lover of the Camino, and I'm hoping to marry those two things together to provide support for people who are curious about how to mentally prepare for a Camino and how to process all the things that you learn and the experiences that you have when you get back. So that starts in April. So if you are interested, click on the link and find out more. And either way, I wish you a buen camino. Buen Camino.